Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Captain America, Symbol of Truth, issue number 3. There's not actually Captain America, it's Sam Wilson. He's the Falcon. God damn it. And I'm actually going to press that a whole lot in this issue because he would have been better off as just the regular old Falcon instead of freaking Captain America in this one. It's only served to work against him the entire time. Honestly, if the writer can do anything in this comic book series, I hope that he makes it so that it only makes sense for Sam Wilson to not be Captain America. Because honestly, in my opinion, he's done nothing but prove that he shouldn't be in this issue. Before, I'm like, I guess if that's what you want to call him, whatever. I mean, but no. Anyway, so you talk about who made this comic book, and let's go on from there. By the way, I was not a fan of this comic book. I believe that every single thing that happened in this comic book did not make any sense whatsoever. And I actually have a pejorative to give to the writer. The writer, by the way, is Toshi Onyebushi. Also, the artists R.B. Silva and Zé Carlos. The color artist is Jesus Abertov, and the letterer is VC's Joe Caramagna. Cover art by R.B. Silva and Jesus Abertov. There are 2 variant covers out there. And I don't know why they're telling us that Captain America was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, because Stan Lee and Gene Colan were actually the guys who created Sam Wilson. Who cares about who created Captain America in this particular case? Captain America's not in this comic book. I said what I said. So this comic book starts, I didn't read issue 2. Full disclosure, I'm not going to sit here and try and blow smoke up your ass. I didn't read issue number 2. But based on the things that happened in here, and there is a little blurb of what happened, it's actually really condensed blurb, but it's pretty big. But he gives the indication of what happened in the previous issue. Honestly, the way the issue starts off, it looks to me like obviously what happened in the previous issue, and I just missed out on a whole lot of really awesome action. Maybe I should have read issue number 2. But anyway, freaking clandestine operations on foreign soil. I'm going to get to what clandestine means in just a moment. Sam Wilson and Deadpool, Wade Wilson, the Wilson twins. Not really. But anyway, they get caught and they get, because they're in Latveria, and they get caught behind enemy lines, and they're brought before Dr. Doom. And Doom is like, well, you're charged with this, and this. How do you plead? And Wade Wilson, of course, does a couple little jokes. Oh, not me. And Sam is like, well, I think that such as a we. That's what Deadpool is doing. He keeps on doing we. He's like, we. I guess you got to have Deadpool make a couple of jokes. Honestly, whatever. I think that it was good. Like the portrayal of Deadpool in this issue particularly, this was actually pretty good because you had him being his silly self that everybody loves, but it wasn't overbearing. It's not a Deadpool comic book, thank God, But I'm not a huge fan of Deadpool. It is what it is. But this, I thought this was the perfect way to use Deadpool if you absolutely got to use him. Sam is basically completely unrepentant for invading sovereign borders. And Doom is just completely like, oh, well, it's fine. I do what you got to do, man. It's cool, baby. Look, he goes and he says that there's not going to be any punishment. He doesn't say that, but he just implies there's no punishment. He's like, next time you invade my borders, the answer, there will be an answer. There will be a response. Latveria will respond. It's like, how many times has America or some agent of America invaded Latveria? And Dr. Doom is acting like this is the first time. Hey, Toshi, maybe don't write this comic book in a bubble. No, but it is in a bubble. And it's completely removed not just from space, but from time as well. I'm surprised Doctor Who didn't show up with his freaking cosmic screwdriver. You know what I'm saying? This comic book, the absolute disregard for the invasion of a sovereign nation, and you had nothing. And just the idea that Dr. Doom doesn't punish the person, and there's got to be a rescue operation or something. I'm sorry. And I don't know, somebody's going to be like, somebody who really likes the comic book and the writers are going to be like, well, Bill, you can't just have him arrested because then the comic book is over. Well, first, maybe the comic book should be over because with all due respect, it's horrible. Two, I didn't write the person taking up the shield, even though it's a different shield. What's the point at this point if it's not the same shield, for crying out loud? But I didn't write Sam Wilson invading Latveria. I didn't write that. But if I had to pick up issue number 3, which I did, and I look at this and I say, how did this happen? He invaded a sovereign nation, Latveria of all things, while Dr. Doom is there, got captured, and is just set free. And there's the most pathetic threat you could ever imagine. Sam doesn't even take it seriously. He just storms off. Doesn't even fly off. He just storms off. He just starts walking out. Like, are you serious right now? He's non-repentant, nothing. And he calls it a clandestine operation. The next page, freaking Sam Wilson is calling up on Wakanda saying, hey, so here's this thing. We got nothing in Latveria, but, on the U.S. Canadian, U.S. Mexican border, there was a train and there was all sorts of illegal stuff happening there, but we think that these guys were there looking for vibranium. And we didn't find any vibranium. We got absolutely nothing. Like you had nothing on Latvia either, apparently. I don't know. I didn't read the comic book, but clearly he didn't have anything. Because when he's talking to Princess Shuri, I think Okoye was there and somebody else was there, whatever. When he's talking to these people, he's basically not even mentioning Latvia or Latveria. Latvia, a little bit different. Latveria, right? He's not even mentioning them. So it's like, so you apparently had the same, you had bupkis, you had nothing, zilch, zero, nada, nothing, big fat goose egg. And you're going to come to me with this comic book? So, but now you're asking for permission? Hey, better to beg for or to ask for forgiveness than to beg for permission, right? Well, apparently Sam Wilson didn't learn that. Because with Latveria, we're going to invade. Clandestine organization. Translation, spy. When Wakanda abjectly says, F you, you're not coming into my country, I'm laughing because he the very next panel he says, the one guy who's there, like, one of his operations officers, he's like, well, maybe you should just, break into the country illegally, illegal entry. And he says, I'm not going to illegally enter Wakanda like some kind of a spy. Everybody doing a universal head slap at this point. You just did that to Latveria. But you're not going to do that to Wakanda? I don't understand. Why are the standards different? Why are you acting like you weren't just a spy? Like, why? He spied. He entered Latveria. I mean, like, I'm not saying anything that sounds stupid, right? Except for the plot of this comic book. I'm not saying anything where you're like, oh, Professor, you're not really that smart, obviously. Don't you know that a clandestine operation is not the same thing as spying? Except, yeah, it is. There's no difference. Do to Wakanda what you just did to Latveria. But here's the thing about it. Toshi, the writer, apparently doesn't know anything about what's happened in the comic books before, because this guy, this white guy who's talking to Sam, is saying, well, how are you going to get in there? He's like, well, I'm going to apply to get in there and do such and such and such. And he's like, well, I mean, it is what it is, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Freaking knucklehead, cheese dick Sam Wilson decides he's going to go and visit his brother in jail. And there's all sorts of talk and stuff. And then he goes to where the hell? Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Burping. He goes someplace without his thing on. He goes wherever the hell he goes. Harlem in New York. I don't know why goes here. So pleased to see another brother eager to join the movement. Got my visa application right here. Because they're going to go to Wakanda. So in Harlem, New York, apparently that's where it looks like it's an outdoor embassy for Wakanda. They don't want their embassy indoors like everybody else. Okay, whatever. If that's That's cool. That's cool. No need for security. Because, like, I'm sorry. Like, this is just the way that the world works. You can't just have a plot of land and say, here you go. Because technically, an embassy in another country doesn't belong to that country. It belongs to the country the embassy represents. When I was going to Saudi Arabia and I had to go to Washington, D.C. to actually do my original application to get in for that first time and everything like that, I went to the embassy. As soon as I walked through those doors, officially, that is Saudi Arabia. I believe that's the only embassy I was ever in. No, I was in the American embassy in Saudi Arabia. Guess what? That's America. That's America. Saudi Arabian law doesn't apply in there. Oh, they could go and take it over, but that's basically a hostile attack on a foreign nation. That's what it is. In your own lands, within your own border. Yes, it is. It is. I wasn't allowed to go inside the Canadian embassy in Saudi Arabia because Canadians are, for the most part, a bunch of a-holes, but it is what it is. Nowadays, I could because I got my permanent residency ship, but at the time, I had nothing. So I was like, no, you can't come in. You're just a visitor. Nope, sorry. You can wait outside. Wait outside in the sun? You guys are evil. But it is what it is. I actually got to wait in the little handicraft area and hang out with the one chicken there. But I mean, to have an embassy just outside, free flow, so all your valuable information and documents, I'm sorry, maybe Toshi should consider actually going out and looking what the world actually is to understand that that's not the way it works. That was just stupid. The idea that there's a Wakandan embassy there or any place where he could actually get into that is stupid. That is absolutely absurdly stupid. It is inept. Who the hell comes up with a ridiculous concept like that? That was just jackassian in all its grandeur. I get to be upset over this because I'm going to make a couple of bold statements here. All right. But in a moment, because first off, freaking Sam Wilson takes off the shield to get into Harlem and be, accepted, whatever, blah, 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 and do what he's got to do. Because basically he's spying. He was told you cannot do this operation in my country because he was dressed up to the nines and he's in his uniform and he's like, hey, and he's got the shield there. He grips the shield in anger, the leather, that poor leather strap. And he's standing there like, hey, blah, 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 whatever. Freaking, what do you call it? They say no. Because he's in full uniform. Because he's, in my opinion, because he's in full uniform. So he takes off the uniform and says, I'm going to just make a general visa application to go to Wakanda because, hey, so that means that you're going to go in there like a spy. Stop mincing words. Stop. Stop acting like we're all a bunch of low IQ morons. I'm talking to Toshi here. Stop, the writer. Stop acting like we're all a bunch of low IQ morons. You're just going to read a book and go, I can't think of what happened. No, because we're not. There is not a single person who read this who is low enough IQ that didn't say, so you spied on Latveria. You didn't get in trouble for spying on Latveria. And then you say, I'm not going to spy on Wakanda. So you decide to, and they say, no, you can't come in. So you decide to go and apply this way so that you can go in and spy on them. I'm sorry. Just what are you trying to get at here? Look, I need to move on past this because I could rant on this for a long time about how absolutely, utterly stupid this was because it was freaking stupid. But look how easily he gets it. He's going to go to this outdoor embassy and he's going to go in. First off, does the writer not recognize that back during the wedding of the Fantastic Four or something like? No, the wedding of Storm and T'Challa, right? All the black guys were given, especially distinguished Sam Wilson, is like, you can come here anytime you want. You could be a citizen here if you want. You've got permanent national citizenship here if you want. Was there a time that was taken away from him? Somebody filmed. In fact, I should go to the, because I forgot that I was live on this. Hey, everybody. Hey, Federico, what's up? Just came in. You're already mad. Oh, just stop. Anyway, let me get to the comment section in a second. Look, my peeps. Like this, to me, like this was just dumb. Sam has been given, and unless somebody in the chat can tell me wrong, Sam has been given unadulterated freedom to come to Wakanda any single time that he damn well pleases. Right? And to me, if he was just even half as smart as Toshi is trying to implicate that he is, right? Maybe he's trying to make him stupid. I don't know. The Sam Wilson I knew, who used to hang out with the actual Captain America all this time, was amazing. He was amazing. He was ridiculously smart. He was able to figure out things. He wasn't just some guy who gave a couple of good speeches now and then. He was an amazing freaking character. And he would have known, if I go in an official American, as an official American ambassador and say, I would like access into your country, they're going to say no. If he goes there, if he approaches, if he talks to them in any measure of the fact and says, hey, I'm in an official American capacity, can I come into Wakanda? The answer is going to be no. But as you're already a friend of Wakanda, why wouldn't you approach as a friend? Look, if one of my friends came to me and was like, hey, Bill, I need such and such and such, I'd be like, bro, you got it. But if you come to me dressed up in a uniform, like if I'm working at a McDonald's and you come up, in your Burger King, I have to say no. You can't come over here and hang out and do all this stuff and give a little speech or whatever as a Burger King ambassador in my McDonald's. It's the best example I can come up with that everybody's going to understand. Sorry, maybe it's just me. Why the hell would Sam Wilson be so asininely, inanely stupid as to go in an official American capacity to do something like this? What an absolutely boneheaded, moronic thing for anybody to do. This is the kind of thing that you would expect to see Spider-Man do. You know what I'm saying? A guy who's really book smart, but has the social skills of a freaking fish stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of thing you'd expect some bonehead to do. Not Sam freaking Wilson, who damn well should have been known better. Wow, that pissed me off. I hate getting pissed off over a comic book. But when you sit there and you present something to me and you go, here, I did this in crayon so you can understand. Prepare to get punched in the face because you're a moron. Like, I hate having to tell somebody that you're stupid, but Toshi's an idiot. Toshi is absolutely dumber than dog shit. I'm going to say something. Here's the thing where I'm going to get canceled. He's a racist also. And fuck that guy. Absolutely fuck that guy. He's a racist. How are you going to have every single white character in this comic book is an idiot or is a racist or is doing something absolutely wrong in every way, shape, and form imaginable and possible? How is that possible? And the only character who is white who hasn't done something stupid or bad or wrong, or he's obviously a bad guy, is the guy who's actually working with Sam Wilson right now, that presidential figure, official capacity guy. Hey, I got news for you. I'm willing to put in a bet right now, and somebody wants to take the odds on that or whatever. I'm willing to place a bet. Fair man's bet. All right? Fair man's. At some point, that jackass is going to turn out to be a traitor. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you to tell me I'm wrong. Chat's open right now. Comment section is open after this is over. I'll bet you that guy's going to turn out to be a freaking traitor too, because that's just the way it works. These morons are talking about white supremacist groups. Give me a second. I'm surprised I got enough room to do a full turnaround with all these freaking comic books in here, but bruh, where are the white supremacists? Where are the white supremacists? I haven't seen any. I said fair man's bet. That means no money down. Calm down, all right? This guy's looking to try and make a buck. Honestly, you better be happy I'm not betting because I'm telling you I'm right. But anyway, seriously, fair man's bet for the honor, for the distinction of being able to say, you were wrong. Or me being able to say, I was right. What I'm saying, I like that though. What odds are you laying? Look, real talk. Where are the racists? The last time that we've seen any kind of a racist group was those retards with the tiki torches. Jews were there. What? What? Dude, I am 47 years old. Happy birthday to me just, 3 weeks ago, something like that? 2 weeks anyway. I am 47 years old. And the Ku Klux Klan has not existed in any capacity like, the history of it back in the day. And at this point, it's all just histrionics. It's all nonsense. There is no Ku Klux Klan nowadays. Like, there's not. You want to know what the Ku Klux Klan is? It's actually a really good lead-in for this. Check this out. Some black dude from England decides, I'm going to go to the most racist town in America, and I'm going to interview people there, and I'm going to check out the most, and I'm scared, and I'm worried, but I'm going to go, excuse me, he's talking to British accent, and I'm going to get, and I'm going to, that's Australian, right? Whatever. Listen, pretend that I actually have a halfway decent British accent, all right? Because in my head, it sounds cool. The second I start saying it, it sounds horrible, but pretend, all right? He goes down, there's like, you're right, proper bloke. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to check out the most racist town in America. I'm going to stop now. In America. And it's someplace in Alabama, go figure. And he gets there, he can't find any racists. No. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Dude goes to what is hailed universally as the most racist town in America, can't find any racists. Another guy, an American black dude, goes over there and tries to do the exact same, because you know what it is. One person does a very popular video. Everybody wants to do a popular video. And I've only seen these two people. Maybe there are more people who went also. I don't know. But this other dude, this other black dude, American guy, decides, I'm going to go to this town also. Can't find any racists. In fact, he actually finds something that most people don't know actually exists, and it's called Southern hospitality. I'm a Yankee from the North. You know what I'm saying? But I lived in Florida, and I know that there are gentle people there. There are gentlemen and gentlewomen in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know where else there is and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like, give me a break. Give me a break. Gentlemen. And at the corner of my eye, Blake the Great makes an almost good point, because it wasn't in that town. It was the next town over. If you see in the comments down there, Blake the Great says the leader of the KKK lives in that town. And that's a really great lead-in, because it's not in that town. It's in the next town. And even the people in that town are like, we don't go to that town because we're afraid because da-da-da-da-da. So both of these two guys, and mind you, there's two separate videos, I don't know if they know each other or not, but, whatever. On their own, and the exact same thing, for the most part, happens to both of them. They go over there, they meet a couple people who, by the way, they see that these are black people. And they go there and they're asking for, and they're all like, oh no, man, I'm really scared to be down here. KKK town. Nothing happens to them. In fact, they're like, hey, I'm looking for the leader of the KKK's place. And the people aren't like, oh my God, it's a nigger. We got to shoot him. None of that happens. Like, oh yeah, I don't know. I heard that he lives down here. I don't know. Nobody knows where the guy is. Yeah, great rallies. Great Klan rallies they're having there. Can't you just follow the burning torches? Yeah, I guess there aren't any. So finally, somebody's like, "Oh yeah, actually, I think like right down that dirt, like three paths down, you'll find a dirt path, not the paved ones. It's a dirt path. That go figure. A racist is on a dirt road. That makes sense to me, because you got to be some ignoramus." You go down there, and he goes down there, and what the guy's just like, oh yeah, you better get off my property. He doesn't say the N-word. He doesn't say anything like that. He's on his own property. He's like, you need to stop trespassing. And even then, the guy's like, I just want to interview you. I'm with, I'm from Britain, and I'm doing this thing. He lies and says that he's part of like the CBC or the BBC or something like that. There's a BBC porn joke in there someplace. That was funny. But I mean, for the most part, he's just whatever. And this guy's being very polite. He's like, listen, I don't have anything against you. I have nothing against you. When he's actually doing the interview in his church, where black people aren't allowed to have service and whatnot. So here's the leader of the KKK who's saying, yeah, you can come into my church, but not when there's a service going on. It's for whites only. I'm sorry. That sounds a whole lot more polite than the freaking black Israelites. We can't call them racist, though, right? That doesn't fit the narrative nowadays. Guys, I'm done with nonsense like this, with these ultra super hardcore center of left of center of whatever nonsense. The freaking modern day liberals who can't get their head out of their ass. You know what I'm saying? Their heads stink, and there's a reason why. Talking about, like, this is stuff that Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. The freaking Sabah, just go. Hey, what's up, Sabah? Go and just check out, most racist town in America on YouTube. You'll find several videos on it, and people commenting on them and everything. And they're really fun. They're really fun to watch. Like 45 minutes long. I was attached. I'm like, I got to see the most racist town in America. I got to see a recap of the most racist town in America. No racism. No racism. Even the guy saying, he was just simply saying, oh, separate but equal. Which really, that's what he wants. He's like, you can have your black businesses. I want white businesses. You can have your black churches. I want my white church. And that's all he's saying. It's like, yeah, I think that the guy's racist. But I also think the people that are black that want the same thing are racist also. I think that the writer here is a freaking racist. I have zero interest whatsoever in this absolute racist moron. This guy gets Charlemagne the God's donkey of the day, as far as I'm concerned. That's what this, because he's a jackass. The Ku Klux freaking Klan, white supremacist groups, show them to me. Show them to me. Because the best you're going to find is something like this guy, where you've got like a racist person. A racist person is not an organization, is not a clan, is not a group, is not something like that. It's one racist guy. You'll walk around, you'll find some racist guy or some racist girl, and there'll be many different colors. You want to have politics and comics by all means, but do something that's actually modern, something that actually makes sense nowadays. Go figure that this racist writer makes Sam Wilson racist by going after what in real life are non-existent racist groups, so that he could sit there and be like, yeah, we're going to get people behind me and stuff like that. Hey, Toshi, do me a favor. Go poo into a little freaking tin jar, because it'll make you the perfect racist. And the thing that pisses me off the most is that Marvel actually allows something like this. I don't care who's bothered that I'm saying this. I don't care if Marvel cancels me being able to get their free books and things like that. I'm calling this exactly what it is. I actually stopped myself because I was going to say I'm calling a spade, but I remember that spade is apparently a derogatory nickname for black people, which I don't want to be involved in something like that, because that's not who I am. But at the end of the day, dude, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what this is. This freaking racist moron, mealy-mouthed and mumbling, this absolute racist drivel is what this nonsense is. Absolutely ridiculous. You show me, like, give me a break. The best they could do is Proud Boys. Maybe they are racist, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But they're not out there doing enough propaganda where I can actually see stuff like that. In real life, the KKK still exists, by the way. You're not wrong. But please show me the last time where they were actually anything. Anything. Alt-right is more famous nowadays. And nobody talks about the alt-right for the most part anymore. And the leader of the alt-right got punched in the face in public. I don't even remember his name. The guy got punched in the face at some point. Tell me the name of that, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Because I remember John Dukes used to be. I think he's actually still alive, John Dukes. This guy, everybody knew, oh my God, John Dukes, KKK, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, in the news, he's coming up and he's going on radio programs and things like that and everything, And it's like, dude, what does the Ku Klux Klan even do nowadays? We know they're bad because they're morons, because they're using the term KKK. And back in the day, the KKK used to do lynchings, and they used to do cross burnings, and they used to do, I don't know what else they used to do. But I remember the autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley, the guy who did Roots. Great book. And it talked about how the Klan was very involved back then. But that was when? That was how long ago? And I'm not saying you have to do a cross burning and you have to do lynchings to be a racist. No. If the Ku Klux Klan exists in any form today, I don't care if they're out cleaning beaches and doing climate control and trying to help with green energy and helping old ladies, white and black, cross the street. If you pick up the name Ku Klux Klan, you're a scumbag. You're a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wait for people like you to die because you're stupid. I don't need these people eradicated. They'll eradicate themselves. But for the love of God, like, you hear about the Ku Klux Klan nowadays, nobody goes, oh, there's a Klan town? Nobody does that. Nobody does that. It's a joke. The Ku Klux Klan is a joke. There's no white supremacist groups anymore. If they are, they're hidden. And they're not getting a whole lot of membership. They're cops now. I know it's nice to hear stuff like that, but dude, I've probably gotten harassed by cops more than anybody else, and it's not just because I'm Italian. It's because I got a bad attitude. And a cop comes up to me and gives me a bad attitude, I'm gonna throw a bad attitude back at him. They're a bunch of low wage, low salary people who just they hate their job, they practically hate their lives, but they're not qualified to do anything. And if you're a cop, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I'm actually trying to defend you, but in a very rudish way that you're not going to like. You know what I'm saying? But you got people talking about defund the police. Do you know what happens when you defund the police? You get the crap that's happening in freaking San Francisco right now. Go look at the videos. My wife was surprised to see this. My wife, a black woman who does diversity and inclusion. And she, for the longest time, was talking about, I think that we should defund the police because we need to have mental social services people doing this, that, and the other thing right now. And it's like, yeah, but we don't have to defund the police to do that. Maybe we can change the police culture by actually getting people to go in there to train them how to, let's say, I'm gonna tell you what Joe Rogan says. People who say Joe Rogan's racist, shut up. Guy's married to a black woman and adopted her black daughter. Shut the fuck up. Joe Rogan is racist because he said the N-word. Yeah, it's because he listens to rap. Freaking Joe Rogan goes and says, you know what the best thing that you can do if you're a cop to feel safe? Learn how to fight. Learn jujitsu. Learn jujitsu. It's as simple as that. If somebody comes at you and they're trying to wrestle you and go for your gun and all this, that, and the other thing, if you know how to defend yourself, you're not worried anymore. If you're standing there with your thumb on your freaking gun or your taser or whatever you got on you, and you see some guy who looks like he's itching and things like that, because I'm going to tell you right now, I know I'm 6'5", and that right there is intimidating to begin with, right? I pack the guns, I'm the freaking man, right? But no, I've also been in the martial arts since I was 8 years old. I've been in jiu-jitsu now for a while, and everybody who's there knows Bill's a big guy who knows how to handle himself in a fight. I can strike, I can wrestle. You come at me, I'm going to meet you with equal force, and I'm not afraid of you. I don't care if you're bigger than me. I wrestle one guy who's bigger than me. Like, that's the guy I always like, hey. His name's Daryl. Shout out Daryl. What's up, brother? But like, for real, I am not afraid of people. You come at me, the worst thing I'm afraid of is, can I at least put my glasses down? I don't feel like going to get them repaired. You know, so I got the warranty on them, but I mean, come on. You know, so that's the only thing I'm afraid of. Don't ruin my glasses. Because you come at me, I know I can handle myself. I could put you down and hurt you, or I could put you down and keep you the fuck down. I'm not worried about it. And if cops knew how to do that, that would be a completely different story. Instead of being the bullies who are fighting people who don't know how to fight, and they don't really want to fight in the first place. But a big guy comes after a cop. And plus, there's obesity on the police force. Like, dude, you got obesity on the police force. Obesity in any country is a national security risk. That's what the military says, and I believe it because I was in the military for 6 years. I was an infantry soldier. If you're obese, you can't serve it is harder to get into the military than it is to get into any university. Any university. Ivy League. It's easier to get into an Ivy League than to get over here. Because if you're smart enough to get into an Ivy League, but you're crippled in some way, you can still get into the Ivy League. Can't get into the military. You still got to pass an IQ test to get into the military. And you got to be physically adept. You got to have all your faculties together. You can't be missing a bunch of digits and stuff like that. You got to be like a whole person. It's harder to get into the military than it is into the university, any university. Stand by that. Let's go. And to be in the military, you got to be a pretty tough guy. You could be more book smart and be in support and things like that. I get it. But at the end of the day, you learn how to defend yourself. If you ever get called up, you know how to defend yourself. You know how to handle you're trained in how to use your weapons. Cops aren't trained how to use their weapons. Cops aren't trained for any of that stuff. You know, they got this bulletproof vest and a Batman utility belt with tasers and beat down sticks and guns and pepper sprays and all this, and they don't know how to use any of this stuff for the most part. You know, get out of here with that nonsense. I feel bad for cops, and their funding should go towards training more than anything else. They've got the equipment. They need training in how to use this stuff and how to feel safe. This way, there's no need for abuse of people and bad attitudes that they, and honestly, pay them more. Make the standards get onto the force a little bit better and pay them more. This way, oh my God, imagine that. You know what I'm saying? You talk directly to Rocket here. You've drawn rockets or you've colored rockets, so why not? But dude, like at the end of the day, I don't know what to say. Like this comic book was just so goofy. If Sam would have taken off the shield and talked to what do you call it, Wakanda, he could have gotten in there no problem. Zero problems whatsoever. I have no doubt about it in my mind. If he was just smart. And the Sam Wilson I used to always read, he was smart. This to me was just dumb. This was just dumb. There are no racist groups around anymore. There simply are none. The idea of all this nonsense is going on. And maybe one of these days I'd love to have this kind of a conversation with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one of these days, if somebody's in the chat and they're not a cop, by the way, I don't know. I'll check out the comments in a couple of moments. But like for me, like if there's anybody who would love to get into one of these kinds of conversations with me, you know, it's not about being respectful. It's just being respectful as far as like let there be a back and forth, but just be open-minded. Don't come in and try and teach me shit. Come in and be open-minded. I'm not going to try and teach you either, but I would love to have this kind of conversation with you and whatnot. I have this kind of conversation all the time. It's not about swaying people, although I do. It's just the idea like there's a smarter way of going about doing things. There's a smarter way to go about writing a comic book. Guys, all you have to do in any situation is to flip the script. If John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, who is coincidentally not the same name as me, decides to write a comic book about a white guy, maybe it's Steve Rogers, who's going after black supremacist groups. Doesn't have to be BLM or anything like that. No, just if he decides to go after black groups and he decides to invade Wakanda, but then he goes and asks freaking Slovakia, it could be Latveria too if you want. Let's do a full reversal. But then asks Latveria, can I come into your country? And says, I'm not going to spy. I'm going to try and get in the right way. And he's not friends with Dr. Doom. But Dr. Doom might be respectful and say, yeah, if you come and you're not here as Captain America, you have full access to my country. Come on in. And I'll give you sit down a royal banquet and everything like that. Maybe that would happen. But it's one of those kind of things where if this were reversed, all of a sudden there would be declarations of racism across the board. That's how you know this is racist. Because I don't care if you're black, white, this, that, or the other thing. A racist is a racist. And that's all there is to it. And I'm telling you right now, this Toshi Oyabushi guy, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not sitting here trying to disrespect the man's name. His parents named him. No, I did it right, though. Onyabushi. Toshi Onyabushi. Dude's a racist. If Marvel wants to keep racists employed in their country, hey, by all means, that's you. That's you. That's not me. Me, if I owned a company again, I have no interest in hiring racists or keeping racists employed. I don't care what color of skin you are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your gender or your sex is. I don't care what pronouns you want to use. None of that shit bothers me. But if you start disrespecting other people, that affects me. That affects me. That affects my business. That affects my bottom line. That affects my ability to feed my family. Your ass is gone. It's as simple as that. I don't care if you're black, white. I don't care if you're Latino. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're Southeast Asian. I don't care if you're indigenous. None of that bothers me. A racist is a racist. And everybody knows a racist when they see one. At the end of the day, this guy is a racist. And this is a bullshit comic book. And it infuriates me to see that something like this is allowed to see print. And that this moron actually believes that this is a decent story in the first place. Absolutely freaking infuriates me. Let me get some of these DK. I'm just going to go from here. Sorry, guys. Most of the other people probably already left. Throw in your comments now if you got something to say. Or judo. Yes, in the military, I also learned judo, the close quarters combat. Some of it was striking, but it was open hand. I'm talking to my. If anybody wants to look up Ray Mount Kilimanjaro Obalawade, he's my boxing coach, and he was a multiple-time champion up here in Canada. Great guy. Yeah, I forgot to mention I do boxing now also. But anyway, great guy, incredible, great guy. The guy's like 2 inches taller than I am. You know, so in other words, your average size Nigerian. Anyway, What do you call it? Yeah, I was talking with him recently. I'm just like, because he was like, honestly, boxing is great for a sport, but I don't know that I would want to use it in real life because, like, punching somebody with your bare fist, you're going to break your hand and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, yeah, I know, but in the military, we learned a form of boxing where we just open hand for the head, punches for the, closed fist punches for the belly, but for the head, no, any part of the head, it's always open hand because you can hit with, there's like what, 16 bones, miniature bones here. They're not going to break. You go and hit somebody in the freaking head, And my taskmaster, I love you, Federico. I genuinely do, man. You know what I'm saying? But you can hit somebody and it's going to do just as much damage as a fist, as long as you know how to use it, and you're not going to hurt yourself. And then if you need to, you can pull out your sidearm. I had a sidearm. Most military don't have sidearms. But as a 60 gunner, I had to have a Colt 45 as a sidearm. So, I'd have to pull that out really quick, or maybe you got to, pull down your knife and, something like that. Who knows? You never know. But see, even a big 60 or an M16, it's very hard to shoot when you punch somebody in the face because your hand swells up. It's going to happen. Anybody who's ever been in a fight, It doesn't matter how often you've been in a fight, how often you're used to actually punching somebody. Your hand swells up afterwards. So I was pointing out, I was like, you can do this stuff. He's like, I never thought about that. So you'll see him messing around sometimes in the gym, talking about boom, 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 and stuff like that. And Henry, I'm live right now. one of the guys I met here. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. I'm a cool guy. If I get to know you well enough, dude's got my phone. A guy who I met on Comic Book University's got my phone number. We talk all the time. There's a couple of you guys. Anyway, so yeah, or judo. Yes, judo is a very good martial art to learn. Also, here's the thing. Boxing or Muay Thai when you're standing, judo to get somebody's ass on the ground, and jiu-jitsu to keep them on the ground. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to go down to the ground if you don't have to. You're better off standing and putting somebody down however you got to put them down. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, they've been actively recruiting within local police forces and potential cadets. I need to see the proof. This all... Like, I hear what you're saying, and I would love to hear it, but I would actually love to see the proofs and whatnot. You can find my email on the front of the main page. I would love to see the proofs for this stuff. KKK is a hoax thanks to Days of the Superman. Well, they are hokey, but regardless of that stuff, no, I never even read that one. I know they exist, but whatever. So they got badges. What do you call it, Federico? That's why it took so long for Ahmed Arbery to receive justice, RIP. No, that's not the reason why it took so long for him to receive justice. It's because let's say Ahmed Arbery was the whole situation, the two people involved, the three people actually, were found not guilty, right? And the thing happened really quick. It was swifter justice. They went before the justice system earlier. No. The system is backed up. There's a lot of stuff going on. I know that we only see the airing of of certain racist things, but there's a lot of racist, and there's a lot of things that cops do that are bad sometimes that involve white people and Asians too, but those don't fit the narrative, do they? So you don't see them all the time. But when you look at the actual statistics, and I know statistics can be a lie, but when you're looking at blanket statistics of just, here's how many white people get shot by the police, here's how many black people get shot by the police, here's this, and this shot by the police, you could say, okay, well, it's systemically worse for black people. Okay, but systemically or it's extra worse for indigenous people. Indigenous people are shot far more often than white people or black people disproportionately. How come I don't see that stuff on the news? How come I will find out that, a guy got caught for kidnapping a white woman, but it turns out that he kidnapped 17 Native American women before that, and that never even made the news. I hear you. If you're black, if you're not black, whatever, you want to be an ally, I don't care. That's cool. Honestly, it doesn't concern me. I don't care about that stuff. But there's clearly a narrative being pushed when Black America is being treated this way, but you don't have anything to say about indigenous people? Like, to me, that's just some bullshit. The Pope is up in Edmonton right now, apologizing for the residential schools and things like that. And even then, some of the stuff they do say about indigenous people, like, oh, the one residential school where there was a mass grave put out there, and they haven't found the DNA sequence of a single indigenous person since they've been there. Plenty of white people who worked at the school, but they haven't found any indigenous people. Go figure. Huh. By the way, 18% indigenous. Thank you, 23andMe. Anyway, I would love to see some of these, cases and whatnot. The comic might be dumb, maybe doesn't appear. There's overt racist groups because racism is fucking everywhere. Yes, racism can be found no matter where you go, but in any color. All right? The black guy, right? How about every time that there's an Asian hate crime, it turns out it's a black male doing it? That's not convenient, though, is it? Look, I'm not trying to be a jerk off to you, but I'm saying I don't just look at one side of things. I genuinely look at multiple sides of this stuff. And Ray. Anyway, so I generally look at multiple sides of this. All right, so I'm sorry. I'm not with you on this. If you want to show me some facts, some statistics, some figures, an article or two that I can read, all right, I'm more than happy to. But yeah. Warlton, so much so that you could be super fucking racist and still be uber. If you're talking about me, understand my wife is black. I got 2 kids with her. And my previous marriage, also not a white woman. I've brought in, like, I hate the idea that I've got to do a freaking resume to show you that I'm not racist. What do you call it? I've paid for a refugee from the Arab world to come over to Canada because he needed help. And I knew I was going to be able to afford one person. And I'm still friends with my buddy Ahmed. I'm still friends with him to this day. I don't give money to him anymore because he doesn't need it. You know what I'm saying? But we still talk. You know what I'm saying? We still hang out every so often. I mean, like, we're good. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I myself have actually stood up against racism. I actually, the first time I actually broke my the metacarpal, I've broken it twice. But the first time I actually broke this was punching the windshield of a guy in Saudi Arabia who was talking shit to a black woman and calling her all sorts of racist names. What have you done to stop racism? I hate to be a dick, but if you're referring to me, you can go fuck yourself 6 ways into next Friday. Calling me a racist doesn't mean shit to me. I know my record. I know my resume. You bring the noise if that's me you're talking to. You can go burn in hell for all I care. Coming at me and being a jackass. I hate that Marvel mishandles Doom all the time. Agreed. Only Hickman and Cantwell handled them well in the last decade. Really, did Cantwell? I don't know. Getting a new set of armor mailed to him while he's a hobo on a train, that didn't really. Maybe Cantwell. Maybe some things Cantwell did. Not everything. Sabah, this isn't related to the comic book, but I need to know what you thought of the Ms. Marvel series at some point. I loved it. I don't like the idea they're hinting that she might be a mutant. She should still be an Inhuman, in my opinion. But I think that was the best thing that the MCU has put out since Winter Soldier, or at least since Endgame, I should say, since Endgame at least. Like, in this thing, it's better than anything else they put out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was absolutely fantastic. I do not like Marvel putting the Eternals into the current over stuff. I get you, John Wright. Yeah, agreed. Oh, wow. Best adult dating site. Wow, that's awesome. The spam is here. Anyway, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for me. I'm done. Went into enough of a rant. Racism sucks. I don't care what color you are. If you're a racist, you're scum. And it's as simple as that. And I hope you get better. And I don't mean to call anybody out for anything like that, because calling somebody out for being a racist or a sexist or anything is going to help. You know what I'm saying? But you should know this is what people think of you, and hopefully you can get educated enough to think about this stuff. I don't think anybody should be canceled for being the way they are, but honestly, I think that we should be better human beings, because we're all just human beings. A lot of the problems with crime and everything else, they're related to, and mind you, a guy who got a degree in socialism, it comes from poverty. It doesn't come from anything. There is no genetic predisposition towards stealing or robbing or violence in any race or any religion. It couldn't be genetic in any religion, but you get what I'm saying. There is nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take a step further. Men are not the most violent people on the planet. Women are pretty violent too, especially when there's no men around. You see like cat fights and things like that. Men aren't trying to pull women's hairs out or scratch their faces and all this stuff. And that's just the physical violence. Let's also talk about the idea that a guy punches a guy in the stomach or punches a guy in the eye. It is what it is. Stealing milk money or whatever, that is what it is. But a woman will try and destroy you on the internet and socially ruin you through gossip and cause you to be anorexic, bulimic, will cause you to get plastic surgery, cause you to cut yourself because you can't stand all this constant stuff going on, cause you to change your personality drastically, or cause you to commit suicide or at least attempt suicide. Women just don't have the accountability that men have. All bullying is bad, and being a racist means that in some way, shape, or form, inadvertently, you're going to be a bully also. All that bullying is bad. Any kind of violence or aggression towards another human being who is just trying to exist in their own planisphere, anybody who's aggressive towards somebody like that, you're not a good person. You're just not. And just because you don't get punished for something doesn't mean that, you're, oh, well, it's acceptable. No, it's still bad. Okay, be good. Don't get in people's way. Don't try and stop people from being who they are. You know what I'm saying? Just stop. But at the same time, there's some people who just don't know how to think and actually understand, just be good to each other, Like Jerry Springer, the greatest wise man that's ever existed, apparently. Viral significance. It's not significance. What is that? Verilifiance. Not familiar with that word, but satire I am familiar with. Do a review of Moon Knight 8 from the current run. Oh, dude, I actually talked about that. Go check out my interview with Zeb Wells. No. Zeb, the guy who's writing the current run on Moon Knight. I actually went over every single issue with him up to issue 10. That's why I started reviewing with issue number 11 officially. Go check out Jed McKay. Go check out my interview with Jed McKay. I confront him directly and I ask him questions about it. There's my reviews for all of those. It's about an hour long, and thank you, Arlton. And boom, you're golden right there. You'll get everything you need. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Love you to the moon and back. Even if you're a racist, just be better. I'll talk to you all later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Hey, that's dismissed.